Hey everyone, First the T here. Thanks for checking out this YouTube channel. Congratulations, Nick Taylor, on winning the 2020 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Here's his post-win press conference interview.
Nick, congratulations on your second PGA Tour win. If we can get some comments.
Yeah, it was an incredible week. It was start to finish. You know, I started my first hole with an eagle. I just felt like I read the greens so well this week and made a lot of crucial putts. Today was such a difficult day with the wind, and again made some crucial putts. Even on the first hole was a big one for par, and some birdie putts early on to get the round going, and really hung in there in the middle of the round. That chip in on 15 was obviously massive. So it was just an incredible week, tee to green, on the greens, everywhere.
And you move up to number 13 in the FedEx Cup standings. I'm assuming this sort of changes your goals and expectations the rest of the season.
Yeah, it does. It lines me up great for the FedEx Cup playoffs. You know, the last couple of years I felt like I've been fighting for my card, so things have changed, which is awesome. Be able to pick my schedule a little bit more. So all great stuff. Probably hasn't sunk in quite yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to some rest today and tomorrow, and then play next week.
All right, let's go right into questions. Yeah, let's go to the back. Or actually, go ahead, Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's go to Doug, sir. Let's go to Doug first, and we'll get you a microphone.
Nick, just your from an emotional level, when you kind of get through that into the front nine stretch, and all of a sudden you got a 5-shot lead, and then coming off 14 when the wind's blasted and it's down to 2, and you know, not even bogeys seem easy. How did you kind of keep yourself steady?
It was tough. You know, that whole stretch, really 11 through 14. You know, 11 I pulled it a little bit off the tee, but I think, you know, I've just probably took a little too far line to the left. I didn't see it bounce. Obviously, it ran for a while. But, you know, just took my medicine and made bogey there. When Phil flew the green on 12, you know, I still thought, you know, at best I could fly to the front third of the green and hit a good shot and went over, and then there was no sand in that bunker, similar to what happened to me on Friday. So bogeys were really hard for those 2 holes, and then 14, a drive was a little left of what I wanted, but getting up in that lip of the bunker just made that hole very challenging from there, and we were almost thinking about laying up again, which, you know, that's no bargain having a wedge with all that wind, and, you know, then I'm short right, and I'm really trying to minimize the damage of, you know, if you come up short there, that's the worst thing you could possibly do. So probably, you know, was a little too careful and went long. And but after that, I think Phil making bogey was probably, you know, to only lose 1 shot on that hole with the lead to go down to 2. I had to remind myself I still had the lead. I knew I was swinging it well and just needed to hit that fairway, and I had a great drive there, so that was nice.
All right, let's go to the back, and then we'll get Steve and Ron here.
Again, congrats, Nick.
Thank you.
Talk about the conditions today. A lot of guys had trouble throughout the entire day, and how that affected your game. And was there anything about your game coming into the week that you thought, I could really do well here?
Yeah, again, this is probably my favorite tournament of the year. These golf courses really set up well, I think, for my game. But today was really difficult. You knew the first 6-7 holes being a lot of helping wind, that getting off to a good start would be crucial to kind of ease it in the middle of the round, because once you got to 11, it was straight into the fan, and the greens are firming up. They're getting crispy. So, yeah, obviously I was an amazing start through 6 holes, and kind of let it go away there a little bit. But, yeah, it was just very challenging to win. And I think looking at the leaderboard, I didn't look at it until probably the start of the back line. Knowing that everyone else was having a difficult time as well, I knew that, you know, if I could make some pars, that I'd be fine. Make people have to catch me.
All right, let's go Steve and then Ron.
When you're warming up and it's pretty cold and the wind's already blowing and you get that final pairing with Phil, what were you thinking on that little short drive down to that first tee?
I was thinking about hitting my new big foreign. So we have a little foreign and a big foreign, but it's a Sim Max, the new. It's a big cavity back, and it's been great this week. But that's what I was thinking about, where to hit this. Potentially hitting 3-wood, but probably going to be the foreign and from there. But I was actually relatively calm for the scenario going into the round. You know, I didn't eat much of breakfast this morning. Slept very average last night, which I expected. But, you know, once we teed off, I honestly think playing with the amateurs, it kind of made the round slower. and just made a little more time between shots. I didn't ever feel rushed. I think that helped a lot.
All right, let's go Ron, and then we'll get Mike and Alan over on this side.
Kind of building off that question, but right here.
Oh,
You said yesterday you had never played with Phil before. Given that, what was the interaction like? I saw on the third tee, it looked like you guys had a backup and a little conversation. And did you have any sort of yikes moment where I'm playing with Phil, final round, and how did you get through that?
You know, I've been on. This is my 6th year, so I've seen Phil a lot. We've never really had a conversation, but you know, the scenario was probably bigger than actually me playing with him. But he was great. We had some conversations, you know, throughout the day. I think probably since the back nine, we were just kind of doing our own thing. But yeah, he was very great to play with. So it was a fun, obviously very memorable round to play with him and how much success he's had here. But he was great to play with.
All right, let's go over here, Mike, and then Alan.
Nick, you kind of alluded to this earlier, but how tough has it been to kind of live on the edge in terms of the top 125 the last couple of years? And also, could you talk about the final round at 2018 Wyndham when you obviously played your way into the playoffs that year and how big that was?
Yeah, it's not fun having around that 125. It's, you know, I've been able to keep my card the last couple of years. Did a little bit earlier last year, but that final round is probably what I drew back on the most starting today because, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I was under way more pressure, I felt like, in that scenario than actually when I was trying to win today. A lot of similar emotions before the round, during the round, and really trying to focus on each shot that was ahead of me. But, yeah, I drew back on that round a lot, and that was very crucial for my career. And it's nice not having to do that again this year, at least.
All right, over here, let's go Alan, and then we'll move over to Dave.
Over here. You just won on an iconic venue. You beat a Hall of Famer. Are you excited? Does it feel good? You're not giving us very much to work with here.
Yeah, it feels amazing. Again, I don't think it's going to sink in for quite some time. I don't know if I blacked out the last 5 hours and just played golf, and you know, now I'm here with winning with a trophy. It's amazing. But again, I just try to, as much as I can, block that out. But you know, we're so privileged to be able to play this golf course every year, and to win, like you said, in an iconic place it's amazing. So.
Okay, Shed.
Nick, congratulations.
Okay.
You know, people would look at this and say, where have you been since you won in 2015? And they even look at your recent list of, you know, finishes, a couple of missed cuts, a T32, whatever. You know, I think people would be curious to say, how do you turn that around? How do you go from that to finding that whatever it is, big something, little something?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
It's a very fine line out here. It's, you know, like you said, finishing 32nd in Hawaii, you know, that week I felt like I putt pretty poorly. And, you know, if I had a putting week like I did this week, I think I would have been in contention most of the week. You know, last week is a course that really doesn't set up great for my game. And so it's hard to, there's going to be plenty of golf courses throughout the year that don't set up well for your game, some that do. I knew coming into this week that my game's been great, I think, for almost a year now. Really driving it great. And I think, you know, my coach, Caddy, we've talked about it, really trying to minimize the mistakes that we make that shoot ourselves in the foot, and not necessarily execution areas, just kind of maybe more strategy areas. So we were awesome this week. Skill did a great job, my caddy, and it's such a fine line.
All right, let's get Doug and Adam.
Just a couple of short ones, Nick. What was the club on 17?
8 iron.
And were you thinking 3 when you stood over the chip on 15? Were you thinking making it?
That was a good spot to miss. I was picking my spot. You know, it's makeable for sure, but you know, I was trying to pick my spot. If I had a tap in par, I'd been delighted. But it was nice that it went in.
And lastly, and you kind of brought this up yourself with the fighting for 125. If you think about your 6 years on tour, you've never lost a card, conditional 1 year, but you've only played in 2 majors. You've always been around kind of that 100 spot. Did you ever find yourself maybe not setting expectations high enough for you? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
And by the way, you're going to the Masters.
Yeah, you know, it's tough when you set expectations. If it's tough when you set them, if you don't reach them, how do you react to that? Is it disappointment? Is it, you know, it's fine. I have a goal. I want to achieve it. If you don't achieve it, then that's fine. Figure out a way how you can achieve it. But, you know, I've worked on that, and it is hard. There's so many good players out here. if you told me for 15 years I would finish 110 on the FedEx Cup, I think I'd be fine with that. It's, you know, a lot of times if you have a job the next year, you're pretty pumped with that. So again, now that I have, you know, a job for 2.5, 3 years guarantee, that's amazing.
All right, let's go Adam and then Randall.
Nick, some of your fellow competitors, they describe you as being mentally tough. What makes you mentally tough, and was there a moment today where that really was critical for you?
You know, after 14 is probably definitely I'll look back on where really having to settle down, calm yourself, you know, remind myself that I still had a 2-shot lead. I really wasn't paying attention a lot. I knew that I felt like Phil and I had a cushion on third for most of the day, and then I saw Streelman made a couple birdies at some point, but Phil was still. I didn't realize until 17 green that Phil was in third. But yeah, I don't really know where it comes from. I feel like I like being in that moment. I feel like I'm pretty mellow for the most part, so I won't get too up or down. But yeah, it's just you dream about those scenarios, and luckily I've been able to pull it through a couple times.
All right, let's go to Randall.
Didn't you announce that your family was expecting the baby here at Pebble Beach? So could you answer two things then? One, just what it's like to win when you did that, to win here when you did that, and two, just give us some family details then.
Yeah, we everyone that was very close to us we had told before that, but I guess social media wise we had announced that we were having a baby after the US Open here, and then when I won in Sanderson, my wife wasn't there. I'd just gotten my card, and she was still working back home, and it was actually the day I won was her last shift. She decided to go on casual, so it was crazy that day to all of a sudden win. She's not going to work anymore. We won't be able to travel, and now to have her here with our son Charlie, who's only 3 months old. My in-laws were here. It was just you couldn't write it much better, to be honest.
All right, let's go to Evan over on the left.
Huh? Social worker back in the hospital in Abbotsford, Canada.
Okay, Evan and then Steve.
Nick, I believe you've only played in 2 majors in your career, so how excited are you to play your first Masters and lock up, I think, the PGA as well?
Yeah, I don't think that's the one that's not going to sink in for a while. You know, get that invite for the Masters. That's a tournament that I've dreamed about playing my entire life, and I've been lucky enough. I think I played 3 U.S. Opens, a couple were an amateur, but as a pro, and the PGA at Whistling Straits. So I think it's going to open a lot of doors, and I'm really excited with that.
Thanks.
All right, let's go Steve, and then we'll wrap up with Dave and Ron right here.
Were you aware that no Canadian had won this tournament?
I wasn't aware of that. I remember
does it feel?
growing up watching Weirzy was in contention a couple times. I don't know if maybe Aaron Oberholzer had beaten him that year, but Weirzy had texted me, Ames texted me, pulling for it, good luck. But no, it's pretty cool to be the first Canadian to do that.
All right, Dave.
The bigger shots, 6 or 15, I would have to think under the circumstances, 15 was bigger, but
Yeah.
6 it seemed like it was a key moment as well because Phil was on in 2 and you were in the bunker.
Yeah, that was 6. Again, playing straight downwind, I hit 4-iron. Like, it's more like a 3-iron, but 3-iron. And I knew when I hit that shot right, that was the place to miss. If anything, we wanted to be in that right bunker. And again, not thinking hole, but picking a spot and get up close. And for both those to go in, 50, I think by far was bigger for the moment. But to gain another shot, I felt like when Phil tied it up early on to birdie 4 was big, and then for us both to birdie 5, that's such a difficult par 3.
Right.
I felt like we started to separate ourselves a little bit, but 15 was obviously massive.
And do you feel like in some way you out Mickelson today by doing?
You know what? I saw a few of his highlights yesterday. He hit some incredible shots around the green. His up and down on 13 today was ridiculous. But honestly, seeing yesterday some of his shots, I came to today, and we almost came to a match play type scenario at some point, but I remind myself to kind of expect the unexpected from him. And so when he had that putt, I was like, he's probably going to make this. This is just something he does. And when it went in, my putt barely missed, but I wasn't like shell shocked that he had made that putt because his wizardry yesterday and even today it's incredible.
All right, let's go Ron, and then we'll take the last one with Doug.
I guess you were asked already right here.
Oh, sorry.
about Augusta, but a little more detail maybe. Have you ever been there? Have you played? When you say you've always dreamt of it, did you remember any specific memories watching it as a kid? Or
Yeah, when Tiger had won in '97 was right when I was getting into golf. Mike Weir's win, I remember being in my basement with my older brother and my dad watching, and standing up probably the entire time, and no, I haven't been there. So I always hope that my first time there would be actually competing in a tournament. So again, that a lot of stuff's going to take a while to sink in, but I think that one is it's going to be incredible.
All right, Doug?
First of all, what were you doing watching Phil highlights? And was that the best thing to do before you play with him in the last round?
I was more curious of just how he was playing, and the bunker shots. I think he plugged in the back of the bunker on 7 yesterday and hit the foot, and I was just mind blown that you could hit that shot. But I was just curious, to be honest, and he hit some amazing shots. I'm like, all right, well, I don't know if he can keep that up. If he can, great. But if I keep doing what I'm doing, plugging on, hitting fairways and greens, then try to make the guys behind me try to beat me.
What do you think Phil was expecting from you?
Yeah, I don't know. I know Tim a little bit better, his brother. Tim, I think, was coaching at San Diego when I was in college, but I don't know.
And as you look back, what do you think was the greater challenge for you going into the last round with a one-shot lead over someone of Phil's pedigree and history here, or the wind?
I think only having a one-shot lead, that's so minor in a final round, and I knew with the conditions that, I had a lead, but I didn't feel like, if I had a 3 or 4 shot lead, I feel like I would have been a lot more nervous. But what was the second part of your question, sorry?
The stronger challenge was knowing that you got Phil and only a one-shot lead, or the wind? Ultimately, what was your biggest test today?
I think it's a combination of both. Again, when we made the turn, it was pretty much me and him, unless, we both started to make some bogeys in the middle there, but I felt like it was me against him, and that was a big part of the challenge. And I felt comfortable, making that turn, that it was just me and him. I wouldn't say I felt intimidated. I knew I was playing well, and I knew the conditions were tough, so I just needed to keep doing what I was doing.
Yep, go ahead.
Follow up on that. If you would have been more nervous, which makes sense, if you'd had a 3 or 4 shot lead, is it safe to say that the most nerves you felt was when you had the 5-shot lead?
Yeah, I
fail from there. I mean,
yeah, like people say, when you get a big lead, you almost don't know what to do with it. When I got the lead, I felt like we were going into the most difficult holes. So I knew pars were going to be awesome, but again, the shots I was hitting, I didn't think they were that bad, and I just really had to manage bogeys from there. And 14, we both struggled on that hole. Phil, we both in that bunker, and once you hit that bunker on the left, the right ones are okay, but the left ones, you're so far in. That's such a hard pin that, yeah, we both were coming back to the feel of it, but it's a different feeling because you just don't get that big a lead very often. You try to keep doing what you're doing, but you try not to count the holes down, how many you have left, but it's, those thoughts are going through your head. It's impossible not to. So I tried to just keep doing what I was doing, and luckily it worked out.
Congratulations once again, Nick Taylor. What are your thoughts on the 2020 AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am? Let me know in the comments section below, and please click on the thumbs up icon if you liked this video. Subscribing to this YouTube channel and sharing the video also helps, and don't forget to click on the notification button for this channel so you won't miss the next First 2T video.